Za'Darius Smith is a Cleveland Brown. Am I still insane for saying that the Browns can win 11 games, or are you guys gonna finally let me be in peace? Yeah, I know I made that prediction before that trade happened, but like, dude, the Browns could be so good. On top of that, the Vikings traded him away for, nothing, really. They gave him and 2 other picks away for 2 fifth-round picks. Huh? Anyway, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and happy Tuesday. Sorry I missed yesterday's video, but I was just busy. Anyway, for today's video, we are going to be starting to do our player predictions for this season, and I'm going to be starting out with the quarterbacks. Now, I do want to say this is going to be divided up into 2 different parts, 16 quarterbacks and 16 quarterbacks. The reason I'm doing it that way is because we're not going to be doing this on a tier list scale, so it's not going to be as fast. I'm going to be giving you guys yards, touchdowns, and picks. Also, it's going to be AFC North, AFC East, NFC North, NFC East for today's video. I'm splitting it up that way because, well, the AFC is way more stacked than the NFC, so one video would be good and one video would suck. Anyway, a couple quick plugs as always, guys. You can head over to G Fuel or PrizePicks.com where code WyattzWorld will save you up to 20% on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. I've actually been slaying PrizePicks baseball. This was my 3rd $100 winner, just doing more and less on pitching strikeouts. But always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. All right, so we're going to begin in the AFC East and start off with the Buffalo Bills' Josh Allen. Obviously, I'll get called biased for this, but this year I believe Josh Allen is going to have 4,400 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. On top of that, I also think he's going to rush for 750 yards and 5 more touchdowns. I have him passing for a little bit more than he did last year, but I also have him throwing less touchdowns than he did last year, because I feel like when they get at the goal line, James and Damian Harris are going to be used a lot. Next up, we got Tua Tagovailoa. He will remain healthy and throw for 4,200 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. And I know people probably think Tua is going to throw for 1 billion yards. Well, we kind of saw what happened last year, guys. Even when he came back, like, he cools off like everybody else does. He's not going to throw for 500 yards every single game. 4,200 passing yards isn't a knock. It's just, I think, a really reasonable estimate. Up next, we got Mac Jones, and even though I think there's a possibility he'll get swapped out at some point, I'm going to predict him as if he played a full season. I got Mac Jones throwing for 3,200 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. They still don't have a receiving core that makes me believe he's just going to go out and light it up. I mean, Juju is not a head turner like that. I do, however, believe Bill O'Brien will be able to orchestrate Matt's talents a lot better, so I will expect a bounce back. He just still won't be Tom Brady. And ending the AFC East, we've got the New York Jets' brand new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Well, he's new, but he's not new. I think Rodgers is going to do good this year, but I don't think he's going to pop off for an MVP caliber season. I got 3,900 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and I will stick him at 11 interceptions. I know last year he threw 12. Usually he doesn't throw over 10, but he's just getting older, guys. He's like damn near 40 years old. He won't be bad, though. All right, now it's time for the NFC East. Let's start off with America's favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, and Dak Prescott. I can't wait to say this one because I think I'm going to make a lot of people mad. He is going to have a bounce back year. 4,600 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. What is unrealistic about this and why? Got rid of Zeke, so you're not inclined to give him the ball anymore. Tony Pollard can catch. Brandon Cooks is a fantastic receiver. CD is obviously a great receiver. They still have Gallup. I see Dak exploding in that offense and him throwing until his arm falls off his body again. If nobody's gonna defend Dallas, then I guess I'll be the one to do it, but wake up. Now we're on to Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. 3,300 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He is also going to rush for 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. Yes, I think Danny will run for more than Josh Allen this year. I think on a talent scale, Daniel Jones has gotten so much better than the Daniel Jones he was. However, I don't think his receivers have gotten that good to make me believe he's going to be throwing for like even close to 4,000 yards. I do think he will be more productive though when it comes to touchdowns and running. That'll bring us to the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. I got Jalen throwing for 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. I think going forward, he's going to continue to be one of the faces of the NFL. He's going to be playing like one of the faces of the NFL. However, one thing that's going to ride on Jalen consistently until he does it, kind of like Lamar, kind of like Kyler, I'm guilty of it too, but he hasn't thrown for 4,000 yards. Okay, this year I think Jalen does that. He has the weapons to do it. There's really no excuse. Team has got an outstanding roster with great protection. Jalen should be able to do very well throwing the ball. And ending the NFC East, we've got Washington with Sam Howell. This is a question mark. Nobody really knows about this guy, and this is just a complete guess, obviously. But just due to how good their receivers are there, I think he's going to throw for 3,800 yards, but just 20 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Especially if Ron is still going to be the coach there. Like, he's not born into success. Sam could be good. His weapons are good, but we don't know. All right, now it's time for the AFC North, and why don't we start out with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I've actually kind of got a crazy year for Joe Burrow. I got him at 4,800 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Might sound like a lot of picks, but my logic behind it is that Joe is just becoming more of a slinger. That's not necessarily a bad thing either. I just think he's starting to recognize when plays can actually be made and what risks need to be made to make it happen. Okay, not every time is it gonna work. There are gonna be some mistakes made, which is where the interceptions come in. But with how good he's getting, with how good his offense is, with how good his weapons are, zero reason to believe Joe should not have a career high in yardage and touchdowns this season. Now we are on to Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny is gonna do well, but he's not gonna be perfect. I got Kenny Pickett throwing for 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. Just from the little bit I got to watch Kenny last year, I got to take two things away from him. One, he's good. But two, he is not afraid to throw that ball where it's dangerous. I'm not saying he's exactly an interception machine and he's always gonna be like that, but I don't expect it to just change overnight, you know what I mean? All right, next up we got Deshaun Watson, and this is a guy who I think is also going to bounce back to a degree. I don't think he'll be full-blown Texas Deshaun Watson, but he's gonna be getting back up to par. I think Deshaun will throw for 4,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Reasonable, not the best, but definitely not bad. Not defending the guy, I think he's a complete piece of garbage, but as a football player, when the realism kicks in, man, he probably still has it. And ending the AFC North, we've got Lamar Jackson. He said he wants to throw for 6,000 yards. I'll give him half of it. I think he throws for 3,000. I think he also has 27 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. On top of that, I also think he's gonna rush for 1,100 yards and 6 more touchdowns, assuming he's healthy the whole year. There's one thing about Lamar, and I've heard Raven fans even kind of come clean about it. Every year it seems like, you know, he starts off with just this elite showcase, and then he'll be super underrated, and then he'll just start throwing ducks in dirts. And then eventually you're really asking yourself, you know, how good is he at throwing? I know he can throw. I'm not saying he can't, but I don't think he's the best, and I don't think he's gonna throw for a lot. Also, just kind of looking at it for today's divisions, AFC North by far has the most picks. All right, now we got our last division for the day. It's the NFC North, and we will begin with Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins throws for 4,700 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. I would definitely have him throwing more touchdowns, but the Vikings still have Dalvin Cook, and even if they do get rid of him, they love to run the ball, and they love to run it right at the one. Kirk's a good quarterback, he's a safe quarterback, and he's gonna do what Kirk Cousins does, and that's pretty much what I predicted, except with a little bit extra yards. And I don't think that's ridiculous either. He has TJ Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, and now Jordan Addison. Okay. After Kirk, we'll move to the Lions and Jared Goff. Jared Goff is going to throw for 4,300 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Jared's a relatively safe quarterback. He's got the arm to make the deep throws. He's got the accuracy to get the touchdowns. It's just the fact that he's got the two running backs now of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, you know, taking a lot of snaps. If Detroit wasn't using a running game at all, Jared Goff would easily throw for 40 touchdowns, and I'm not insane for saying that. Jamal Williams took, 17 of them last year. That brings us to the new Packers quarterback, Jordan Love. Decent is the only word I can use to describe my prediction on him. I got him throwing for 3,300 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. It's his first full year. Like, you cannot possibly expect this man to go out there and light it up, especially with an offense that Aaron Rodgers couldn't find success in. He's gonna struggle. It's natural, and that's fine. I actually am a believer in Jordan Love, weirdly. I think he's gonna be around for a long time. I think he can progress into a great quarterback, but this year you can't expect it. And finally, we've got Justin Fields. He'll have 3,100 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, 13 interceptions, as well as, we'll say, 1,000 rushing yards and 8 more touchdowns. He's going to be a freak. Yeah, he might not be the best passer, but he is capable of passing. Matter of fact, he's been getting a lot better at it, so if he continues to get better at it, that's not even going to be an excuse people can say on him anymore. The guy's got a lot of talent in him, he's got a lot of talent around him, and that team's got a pretty bright future as of right now. I think Justin's going to ball out. All right, everybody, and that is going to be it for part 1 of predicting the quarterback stats. At some point later this week, we will get part 2 done. I'm not sure if it'll be tomorrow, but if you guys did like this video, you already know what to do to show support. Comment, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. I do my best to post on this channel every single day. With everything I just said, I'm going to hop off and get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week, and as always, I will see you in the next video.